This episode is supported by Fulton Commons, and if you're looking for a place to co-work, look no further. It is a super cute space with lots of light, and it's great for individuals and organizations. Like us, City Cast is there, and I love to change up my workspace, and you can do that so easily just within the building. Like, I like to start out with a cup of coffee, looking out the window at the trees, then pop over to these bright pink booths, and then I end my day tucked into a desk at the library-inspired corner. But what's truly unique about Fulton Commons is the shared commercial kitchen on site. So for co-working members, this means lots of food-related events and maybe a taste of Pittsburgh's next big product. And for professionals, this is a perfect place to start or grow your business. There's over 8,500 square feet of kitchen space, and Fulton manages the kitchen infrastructure. There's access to equipment, storage, prep and cleaning areas, everything you need, whether you're a baker, prepared meal provider, food truck operator, or doing something else that's super cool in the food space. Visit fultoncommons.com to learn more and request a tour.
Today on City Cast Pittsburgh, your taxes could be going up. The city and its school district are both talking tax increases this week, but we think there's a way to think about this that's maybe a little less scary. There's a new direct flight to one of Pittsburgh's favorite places. Plus, a local icon is celebrating its 50th birthday. I'm with the City Cast team talking about some of the biggest stories of the week. It's Friday, December 12th. I'm Megan Harris, and here's what Pittsburgh's talking about. I'm with executive producer Mallory Falk and producer Sophia Lo. Good morning.
Good morning.
We always harmonize now.
I love it. Today is the final day of our winter membership campaign, which means that it is the last day to get our exclusive City Cast Pittsburgh beanie.
Yes, merch. And thank you to everyone who has been a member. Thank you to everyone who's joined this week. And welcome to our newest members, Mark D, Lisa L, Caroline F, Andrew C, and Maggie A.
I know a few of y'all in real life, so thank you to y'all extra. Like, I can't believe you're willing to listen to me yap in your leisure time, too, in addition to being friends with me. Y'all are all just the best. Every single neighbor, you're the best.
You truly are the best. We appreciate each and every one of you, the OGs, the newest members of the neighborhood. We are heading into the new year, 2026, asking listeners to go deeper on all things local. If you listen to our show, we know you care about our city. We know you care about being engaged locally.
I don't think you could listen to this show if you didn't really want to know what was happening in Pittsburgh.
But if you want to kind of take things to the next level, becoming a neighbor, a City Cast Pittsburgh neighbor is an easy and very joyful way to do that.
Yeah, you get an extra curated events email each week, plus the chance to come to members-only events. We are starting to plan what's coming up next year. And all of this is like super exciting. I mean, personally, I feel like after the holidays, after I see tons of friends, family, do a little traveling, I kind of come back and feel like a slump in January. And I feel like signing up to be a neighbor is a great way to avoid that slump because you just like learn so much more about what's happening in the city. Like, I truly want to be out and about that first week in January and maybe see some people around the town.
Okay, we have different goals for the first week of January, but we do events all year long. So whenever you get that burst of energy, you want to be part of a community, we are here for you no matter the season.
And you can sign up at membership.citycast.fm. We've actually had people sign up for this exact reason, looking to go to things more. Like Lisa L, one of our new neighbors, said that this was a great way to stay connected to a really wide assortment of Pittsburgh activities that like Lisa would just not have known about any other way. Like our newsletter editor, Francesca, does such a deep dive to find really cool stuff.
Yes, and I feel like we all try to contribute to that too because, you know, we just see different things happening out in the community. The other half of what Lisa sent in was, I appreciate all the effort that goes into managing all this. And Lisa, you didn't say this, but like I just imagined you like gesturing vaguely at the all this part of that, which feels right. It truly is our privilege to talk to Yins about our shared home, about Pittsburgh, because we love her and we want her to be better. So we also complain about her from time to time.
Yes, whether you're here for the moments when we're cheerleading our city or the moments we just need to vent about it, you can help support those types of rants and those types of rah-rah moments, I guess, by becoming a member for $10 a month or $100 a year. Besides all of the perks that we already mentioned that you get by becoming a neighbor, you get access to ad-free listening. And we also do a lot of ticket giveaways for our neighbors. Like this past year, we gave away tickets to the Heinz History Center, a pizza festival. We had a big ticket giveaway to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I know that meant us sending people to our frenemy Cleveland, but this is the kind of stuff that you'll have a chance to win if you become a City Cast Pittsburgh neighbor.
And if you're food motivated, I am baking an extra special cookie box that I'm going to raffle off to a neighbor at our holiday call-in show. So this is an in-person event. Anyone is welcome to join, but members get a few extra things there. And this is going to be at the Benedum Trees building downtown on 4th Avenue next Friday, December 19th. We start in the morning right at 9 and we'll go until about 1.
You can also catch them on the dial at 101.1 FM. But for neighbors, you don't actually have to be present to win. All you have to do is send us a song request and a dedication. You can do that in advance. But that's what we mean. You don't necessarily have to like jump through a bunch of hoops. We just want to hear from you and know that you're there and reward you for that.
Yeah, if you want to make a request, you can call or text us at 412-212-8893, whatever your favorite holiday seasonal song is. Anyone can do that, neighbors, regular listeners, but neighbors get a chance to win special prizes.
Yeah, the cookie raffle.
And gift cards to local businesses because, you know, like we've been saying, we're all about deepening your connection here. And that can mean exploring a new neighborhood and supporting some Pittsburgh businesses. We recommend turning it into a crawl, really making a day out of it. Like get your coffee, maybe a pastry, do a few shops, get lunch, do an activity. Like just spend a whole day at a new neighborhood's main street, just like our friends at You Jag Off recently suggested.
Yes, in our episode about shopping local for the holidays and all year round.
And one more time, today is the last day to join to get our City Cast Pittsburgh beanie. We would love to send you one. I also want to send myself one because we don't have our hands on them yet. And I'm cold. I want more hats.
I think they all ship out at the same time. It's coming. It's coming.
I know. So if you're a new neighbor, that's just around the corner for you. You can sign up at membership.citycast.fm. So let's get into this week. I feel like we've talked about a bunch of stuff. We had our gift guide. We worked with Virginia Montanez, who's done her Yinzer gift guide for years and years, and definitely added our own flavor to that.
Yes, and we also suggested some gifts ourselves, everyone on the CityCast team. So we'll have a link in the show notes to that article. Super fun.
On Tuesday, we talked about a bunch of restaurants that all have one thing in common. They got started in 2015, so they've made it to this like coveted 10-year moment. I did not realize that was like such a big milestone in like restaurant world.
Yeah, because a lot of restaurants close early, but go listen to that episode if you want to hear what made it to, their first decade.
There's definitely one neighborhood overrepresented.
Yeah, you can probably guess if you've been in Pittsburgh over the last 10 years. Wednesday, we talked about what's going on with Pittsburgh's public school system, why the school board rejected a plan to close and consolidate a bunch of schools that had been many years and hundreds of thousands of dollars in the making. That's going to be relevant in today's episode as well. So definitely give it a listen. It helped me really make a lot more sense of why the board rejected this plan that it seemed like they were really poised to pass.
And they also talked about some good things happening in the school district, which I think is also like a thing we should always keep in mind, that even though there's a ton of money trouble, there's also bright spots.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And, speaking of bright spots, I think yesterday's episode was a full bright spot of Pittsburgh holiday trivia, some friendly competition.
And not so friendly competition. There was an instigator there.
Was I the instigator?
No, it was Jeff. From Q-Burg.
Our buddy Jeff Friedman over there at Q-Burg, co-founder. He's just amazing. Did not do quite what he set out to do in the trivia game, but we won't spoil it for you.
Jeff tried to pay me for the answers. So
did he really? I missed
I'm
that.
calling you out, Jeff.
To be clear, we did not accept payment.
That's true. We did not. I did give style points at one point, but anyway, please listen. Today, we're going to start off with something a little bit complicated, and I think something literally no one who lives in the city of Pittsburgh wants to hear right now, that your taxes might go up because the city and the school district are now both considering raising taxes. All this news. We've heard things floated about it all year long, but the news popped that there are actual proposals on the table now. So we're going to talk about why, how much extra you might end up paying, and how likely all of this seems, at least at this moment. So we'll start with the city.
Yes. So on Monday, a beautiful start to the week, City Councilor Barb Warwick proposed raising property taxes. The number we keep seeing is by 30%. This would be our first tax increase for the city since 2015. She said it could bring in more than $41 million. And the whole reason that she's calling for this is because she and other members of council, they believe there's a $20 to $30 million hole in the budget that Mayor Ed Gainey proposed for next year.
And that number is 20 to 30. It's a little squishy because of what you include in it. Suffice it to say, it is a whole lot of money.
And, the idea of this tax increase is to fill that hole that they think is in Mayor Gainey's budget and give us extra money for things like new ambulances and snowplows, both super important.
No one, not a single one of us wants to be in a crisis and then not be able to get medical care because the vehicle itself is so old that it breaks down somewhere. Like, my brain can't even comprehend that.
Also, the bills to repair these old vehicles is very, very high.
I mean, we should stop trying to need so many repairs in the first place. Like, if you've ever had to baby an old vehicle, I feel like you know what we're talking about here. But then multiply that feeling and having to budget for that by over 1,300, because that's how many cars we have, and a lot of them are way beyond their lifespan. Plus, like, the extra damage that something like a snowplow in Pittsburgh probably gets. Like, you have to maintain that, repair that. It's a lot to try to make sense of.
Yeah, and I imagine fixing something like an ambulance is a little pricier than fixing, like, I don't know, your Dodge Caravan.
I had no idea how much these things cost. That alone is like a whole separate thing. Maybe we'll talk about that at some point.
But all of this, like the whole conversation around the budget, is just very messy. So, Mayor Gainey insists that his budget is balanced. He says it does not require a tax increase or layoffs in order to work.
Yeah, I mean, he said that to us as recently as yesterday. Mallory and I went down to talk to him about his legacy, and y'all will hear that next week. But then Deputy Mayor Jake Pollack came in direct from a budget hearing, and he said point blank he does not think we need to raise taxes or lay anyone off.
I certainly don't think layoffs are necessary, right? We have eliminated vacant positions. I believe that there are a few more vacant positions that we did not eliminate. Council has a list of those. Could they propose amendments that cut a few more positions? From today's discussion, I think that's possible. I don't foresee layoffs. A tax increase, I don't believe is necessary. I think the degree to which council believes one is necessary has shifted from today's conversation. It really depends on whether they want to pursue new spending versus whether they think it's necessary to meet the obligations we have. And our answer remains to that question, no. But, we'll talk to them about their level of comfort in the margin of error.
And I feel like we should pause here because City Council does not agree with this take. Council members, the city controller, a lot of others have called the mayor's budget like quote unquote dishonest, sloppy, a lot of other names. Sophia and I talked about them on a previous Friday show. I think my favorite
scathing. Yeah.
I think my favorite one this week was in a Trib story. It was quote unquote untethered from reality.
Yeah, and some of the really specific criticisms are that just the projections for overtime expenses, salaries, and utility payments are not adequate. And, reminder, this year we have already blown well past our overtime budget.
And, critics say that, besides this 20, 30-ish million dollar hole, there is not space in the budget for any extras. So the Trib listed sort of those extra ideas, things like tearing down abandoned buildings, improving litter pickup, adding more youth programs, all things that counselors would like to do. And I think, me, the public, other people generally also want to see.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue litter pickup does not feel extra. Like that feels like a basic city service.
Improving litter pickup, but
yeah,
still.
But if it's bad, you're not doing it. What is subpar litter pickup? Are you picking up the litter or not?
Moving it slightly closer to the trash can. I don't know.
I'm just saying, I want that part to be really good.
Especially this season where the snow melts and reveals all the litter piled everywhere.
Truly.
But, Pollack and Gainey, even talking to us this week, they say they know the budget's tight. There's not a lot of margin for error, but they stand by the numbers. It is balanced as is.
But no one else seems to agree with them.
But everyone does agree on one thing, the vehicle fleet. The budget does not include enough money for upgrading all those vehicles. So Gainey's proposal for 2026 puts aside about $10 million for that. But the guy who is in charge of the fleet says the city needs to be spending double that every year. That's a huge figure.
We keep making these one-off payments as if it's going to make a dent, and it's not. We just keep falling behind the 8 ball on this. It's not just a Gainey problem. This goes back well before him.
You can find news stories attacking previous mayors over not doing enough about the snow plows. This has been a recurrent theme.
Yeah, I saw the PG editorial board suggest we use a bond issue, but I don't think that really makes sense either. Maybe technically it's possible, but if you don't know, bonds are basically loans, but they aren't with a bank the way you or I would borrow money. Anyway, the sticking point is that we're only supposed to use bond issues for capital projects that are going to last more than 10 years. And some of our fleet can last that long, but a lot of those cars, that's their lifespan is 6 or 8 years. So I guess it could be a little bit fungible, but anyway, this is how Jake Pollack put it.
That's not a accounting best practice in public finance because they don't have a useful life as long as the bond. So it'd be like getting a 20-year car note on a car you're going to have for 5 years. And then for the 15 years after you've already sold the car, you're still paying it off. We don't recommend that.
So this whole fleet issue is a fight I fully expect is going to go into 2026, but the budget has to come together basically now. No one can find any record of Pittsburgh ever missing a budget deadline. They're due by December 31st.
They're not like the state that's just allowed to blow past that deadline every year.
Exactly. I don't think we've ever missed it. And it sounds like no one thinks we're going to this time either, but also no one knows what happens if that does occur.
Yes, because we are so close to that deadline. And I think that's why we're now getting these 11th hour proposals to try to make things work. So there's, the tax increase that Warwick's proposing. And then there's this other idea about having every city department cut its spending by 5%.
And, I looked into what a 30% tax increase was actually going to look like because I saw that number and really freaked out.
It does sound scary, but I don't think it's as scary as it needs to be.
Yes, the math came out and I was happier, I guess. Basically, if your house is assessed at $100,000, you'd have to pay about $20 more every month. So it comes out to about $242 extra per year, which I know is not a fun number to hear, but if it's for essential services, yes, I want my ambulances running.
Oh, I want ambulances. I want the trash picked up. I do want the hanging baskets on the bridge in the summertime. Some of this is a nice to have, but a lot of it is an absolutely need to bare minimum situation.
And there's a difference between the market rate for your house, which is how much you paid for it when you bought it, and then how much it's assessed for. And the assessment, especially in Pittsburgh, is usually lower because Pennsylvania is the only state in the country that doesn't automatically reassess your house. So everyone's house is probably not an accurate representation of its worth. Allegheny's is especially behind the times.
But it could be so much worse. Butler County has not reassessed any of its homes since the 1960s. Imagine that. A lot of the homes, imagine Cranberry area and how much it's grown. A lot of those houses didn't exist then. So their formula for this is even weirder.
And Megan, you helped me figure out how much my house was assessed for. What website did you look at?
Oh, yeah, sure. So you have to look up your assessed value, which you can do on the property assessor's website for Allegheny County. We will link this in the show notes. I love this website. You can find out who owns the houses near you, for example, in your neighborhood. It is such a great way to nose, especially if you're a Zillow person anyway. But anyway, you put in your address, see what your assessed value is, because that will be different than your market rate. And then you times that by the millage rate, which I think is going up to 10.48. So you got to move the decimal, and it's your assessed value times 0.001048. That number times 12, and then you know what just your city taxes are for the whole year. And if you want to compare that to, say, what you pay now, you would times your assessed value, same thing, by the current millage, which is 8.06. Again, you got to move that decimal and then subtract. Reminder, though, we all pay county and school taxes too. So like the city portion is just one part of your total annual bill.
Yeah, and like the rate on my sticker price of the house, I'd be paying over $1,000 in taxes more every year. That I would be legitimately mad
You
about.
were scared when we first did this calculation.
Yeah, not happy. But like the 250-ish, again, big chunk of money, but still like hundreds of dollars less.
Because that's about where yours landed, was a little less than 250. Like no one wants more money they have to pay, but like that feels more reasonable.
Yeah, 100%. So, before you have a panic attack, go check out this site. But it's also not even clear if we're going to have this tax increase. Like everybody is trying to figure out what to do about the budget, whether it's a tax increase, whether it's layoffs. Like we haven't arrived at a final plan yet.
Yeah, so a lot to think about. But the next step is a budget hearing on Saturday, December 20th, where the public can weigh in. A little unusual, but I'm assuming that has to do with like just the parameters of this deadline. And then city council plans to take a vote on it on a Sunday, December 21st. So a lot of things happening hot and heavy right before the holidays.
Which will be super fun for all the media outlets trying to cover this. Thank you for this holiday gift.
Today's show is sponsored by Aura Frames. A few years ago, I was going through a big suitcase of photos from my great aunt's house. A ton of them were from the holidays, so I digitized them all and added a bunch to mine and my mother's Aura Frame. When I see them, y'all, I can smell my Ninny's corn casserole, my Aunt Michelle's truly hideous but delicious chocolate pie, and what I remember, what I can see on the screen is the laughter and just how goofy and comfortable we all were. It's like having this beautifully lit scrapbook going all day long, just full of memories, a highlight reel of Christmases gone by. And the Aura Frame really is very easy to use. You just download the Aura app, connect to Wi-Fi, and start adding your pictures. I've got a ton of recent ones on mine, but it's been really fun to put up old family photos too, because my kid really loves looking at this thing. And he'll ask me, "Mama, who is Dad?" And it's so much fun to talk about these people who really loved me and would have loved him, and tell him about how great and weird and wonderful they all were. For a limited time, you can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver mat frames. That's the one I have. It's been named #1 by Wirecutter. Use promo code CityCast at checkout. That's Aura Frames, AURA frames.com, promo code CityCast. The deal is exclusive to listeners, and the frames do sell out fast, so order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is sponsored by Babbel. The idea of learning a new language can be scary. I felt overwhelmed by that. I bet you have too. I'm CityCast CEO David Plotz, and studies show that up to 90% of people trying to learn a new language give up. 90%. Fortunately, Babbel's built so it's really easy to get started and really easy to stick with it. They understand that people learn differently. So maybe you can dive into a podcast on Babbel when you don't feel like a quick lesson, or you can speak out loud to get practice in, or you can explore courses based on specific topics and even create your own customized review lists, all within the Babbel app. Babbel has made learning a language all about small steps with real wins and progress you can actually track and feel. Bite-sized lessons that fit easily into your daily routine and are also easy to remember. Just 10 minutes a day is enough to start seeing real results. I've been learning Spanish with Babbel, and it's helped when I've traveled in Mexico, and it helps me eavesdrop on my son and my girlfriend when they speak Spanish to try to fool me. No más, mi corazón. However you learn best, by listening, speaking, reading, or writing, Babbel adapts to your style and keeps you motivated with personalized learning plans, real-time feedback, and progress tracking. And right now, here's a special limited time deal for CityCast listeners. Right now, get up to 55% off your Babbel subscription at babbel.com/CityCast. Get up to 55% off at babbel.com/CityCast. Spelled BABBEL.com/CityCast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
All right, we are back, and we did not forget trivia, but Mallory had to bounce, so it's just Sophia and I from here on out. It is trivia time.
Trivia time.
This one's about a holiday tradition. I'm curious if you have come across it, and if whether you have or you haven't, I think the choices here are fun. So, Pittsburghers participate in the Christmas pickle tradition. Have you heard of this?
Yes.
You hide a glass pickle ornament. Most of them are glass. I guess you could do what you want. On a tree, sometimes Christmas Eve, sometimes in advance. I know people who do it at their holiday parties. They'll put the pickle anywhere in the house, and you have to try to hunt it down.
Ooh, okay.
But, whenever you're doing your thing, maybe it's Christmas morning, if it's your family, the first person to find the pickle gets a reward. What are the rewards? What do you think they are?
Maybe like you get to open your present first. I know some people that do like little games or something to see who opens their gift first. I've never done that in Pittsburgh. I have some pickle ornaments, but those are mostly
Wait, you
for
have
show.
multiple pickle ornaments?
Yeah, I got one. Somebody actually at a yard sale had a bunch of them because they were giving it out as like their wedding favors and had extras. And then they're just like, anyone
that's a dope wedding favor. Wow.
It's really cute. But I guess they had enough extras. They were like, anyone who buys something also gets this little pickle now.
Okay, that's great. I feel like I've got a pretty solid collection at this point. Like I've got many bus ornaments, like Sinkhole Bus and dangling over the Fern Hollow Bridge bus. I've got pickle. I've got a peanut. I've got a pierogi. I have a glass duck, like the big yellow
Cute.
duck.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have this angel that looks like a demon because my partner made it when he was a kid, and the
Okay, but
eyes
that's
are
not
colored
Pittsburgh.
and weird. But it's not Pittsburgh. I was going to caveat that. I've bought a bunch that are like locally made, but like I don't have like the iconic stuff like the bridge. We have magnets of like bridge disasters and stuff, so that is represented in my home.
Okay.
Just not on the mini tree. We don't have a ton of space, so we have a mini tree, so we're a little limited in that.
No, I love it. Okay, so yes. Opening a present can be one of the rewards. It can also be an extra gift, especially if it's like a holiday party.
Ooh.
This one is a little thriftier, but I also love the sentiment. It can be just receiving good luck and blessings in the coming year.
Okay.
Sophia,
I
who
need
loves
good
free
luck.
stuff, is like, I don't like that one.
But I do need good luck, so like I'm on the fence. I still get to gloat, so that's okay.
Yes, I think symbolic good luck is something we should all be manifesting in 2026.
Yeah. You know who needs good luck? The city and the school district, because we are still on tax increases because of budget deficits.
Yes. So we're moving on to part 2 in the tax conversation today. The city school district has also proposed their own tax thing.
4%, so I don't think this number sounds as scary off the bat. But, as we mentioned, we talked about PPS on Wednesday's show and why the district was considering closing and consolidating a bunch of schools. And, this is because they have more space than students and also because of budget deficits, like different reasons. But
It's complicated. Please do go listen to that episode if you want the full rundown.
Yes, definitely. It is not moving forward for now, but, we're still talking about this tax increase that PPS has proposed.
Yeah, because financially they are dealing with a lot of the same things that the city writ large is. So COVID relief money is all gone now. That was required to be spent by a certain time. That's passed. They're getting less money from property taxes, in part because some of those buildings downtown aren't worth as much anymore. I saw a couple of stories pop in today. Like, most of these like property tax challenge stories that we've seen, they're like vacant office buildings. I feel like we've talked about that a bunch.
Yeah.
It was when I finally wrapped my head around that, I guess last year, I just didn't realize that the worth of a building could be based on the number of tenants it had.
Yeah, I assumed it'd be like age or something.
Age, condition, how tall it is, how much space it has. Those are factors, but mostly it has to do with how attractive it is. Like that helps set the market rate for it, which can affect the assessed value. Anyway, there was one that popped this week, Sophia, where it's a strip district building. And it's fully filled, like all the tenants. They still got their tax burden reduced by 2/3, which is I think a really big precedent. I need to dig into the details more, but that feels mind blowing to me that even really popular, newish buildings can now win their property tax reassessment and not owe the city a significant amount of money.
Huh, that is really wild.
So anyway, that's a factor. And then the city schools also have to pay a whole lot to charters. So brick and mortar charters, and until very recently, also cyber charters. They do still have to keep paying the cybers, but just not as much, thanks to a court ruling this year. But back in October, the district started floating this idea of a tax increase.
And, obviously that was before the school board rejected the closure and consolidation plan that was supposed to save a bunch of money. So, now they're floating around this 4% increase again. So PPS is projecting they're still going to have a $6 million deficit with the tax increase. Without it, that deficit would be $13 million. So either way, still, things are looking dicey.
I'm surprised they didn't propose a bigger one, and I'm sure there's reasons for that. I would love for someone to explain it to me, but why wouldn't you propose a tax increase that could actually swallow your entire deficit?
I guess at the time of the proposal, they may have thought that the closure and consolidation plan would have gone through.
That's true.
They would have gotten the yes votes. Because until the last minute, it seemed like a bunch of school board members were in favor.
Yeah, that school board meeting was confusing, to say the least. But they're expected to consider this potential tax increase really soon. So not unlike the city, they have a deadline to hit. They're going to vote on it on December 17th. So barring anything dramatic, we should have some idea of what's going to be in place, citywide, really, really soon.
Sucks it's around the holidays, but I guess it'll be in time for, I don't know, the personal 2026 budget I'm making at the very least.
That's so bleak.
I know.
Hey Yins, host Megan Harris here. Y'all know I love Pittsburgh. I love trying out a delicious new cocktail menu, recommending my favorite museum gift shops, and fussing about municipal waste. Here in Pittsburgh, we have range, people. And that feeling of deep connection with this city is why we created the City Cast Pittsburgh Neighbors program. Yes, City Cast Pittsburgh Neighbors is a way to support this podcast and our newsletter and keep them going, but it's also a way of getting more out of the city that you love. When you are a City Cast Pittsburgh neighbor, you get all kinds of stuff. You get an early look at events coming up around town. You get to shout out local nonprofits or businesses that you love here on the podcast. And you get to join us for members-only experiences all around the city, like a private tour of Iron City Distilling or a happy hour at Trace Brewing. Hanging out with people just as nerdy and passionate and engaged as you are is a deeper way of living here in Pittsburgh. And you can make some new friends along the way. Join CityCast Pittsburgh Neighbors by going to membership.citycast.fm. That's membership.citycast.fm. And if you join today, you get a CityCast Pittsburgh beanie. It's black, it's got white writing, it's nice and cozy for Pittsburgh's gray season. And you will be the first to know about our next batch of events. So coming up, we've got a holiday party with homemade cookies and a Santa Claus that's on December 19th. And if you're a CityCast Pittsburgh neighbor, then you can be entered to win some gift cards if you give us a song request. And we've got some really fun stuff coming up in 2026. Learn about it all and get an invite early by becoming a CityCast Pittsburgh neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. Now we've got a shout out from a CityCast Pittsburgh neighbor, someone who's been around a minute. I'm glad to see it. Allison B. coming at us.
Yeah, Allison B. is shouting out Riverstone Books in Squirrel Hill. She says they always have what you're looking for. So obviously books, but also gifts, a lot of kid stuff. And Allison also said that the staff is really kind and knowledgeable there. And her 4-year-old always wants to stop by.
Aww.
So I think that's really cute.
That's really sweet. Producer Mallory has taken, I think, her daughter there for a mother-daughter date, also very young. So you can read your new book or take your kiddo around, maybe stop at Commonplace a few doors down and have a coffee while you read.
That Commonplace is really hard to get a seat. I'm jealous that Mallory got to do it. When I've tried to co-work there, I'm like, never mind. I guess I'm going to the library.
It depends on what time of day you go. I will grant you that. But I've gotten very lucky in there. Also, the Wi-Fi is super fast, so I appreciate that. I'll also throw out that if you are a suburbanite and want to support Riverstone, they're also in the North Hills in that McCandless Crossing shopping center. So you can go do your Trader Joe's run and get yourself a book. It can be a whole day.
That's fun. I didn't realize one was up there. Well, thank you, Allison, for sharing. And thank you to all the other CityCast neighbors who've sent in shout outs. All our new neighbors, I want to see your shout outs come rolling in because that's one of the perks of being a member. You get to share your love of the city with everyone else. So you can tell us your favorite local business, nonprofit, shout out your own business.
Or just like a thing you're loving. We've gotten like a fair number of like gifts submitted to the inbox recently. Just from regular people, which we also love. But when you're our neighbor, we will tell everyone else about it too.
Yes. So join today at membership.citycast.fm. That is membership.citycast.fm. And one more reminder, it is the last day to get your beanie. You can get a beanie for $10 a month. That's not a lot at all.
No. And you get to know that you're supporting us and keeping us around, which we really, really appreciate.
Yes. Thank you for keeping me employed.
Very important. Now we will move on to things to know, some wins, some losses. I'm kind of glad that more didn't pop off. I feel like we were a little loss heavy this week.
Yes, but we'll start with just something to know. I think for some people
this one might be a loss.
A loss, yeah. So Ozempic restrictions are coming for Medicaid patients in Pennsylvania because the state is ending coverage for GLP-1s. So that includes weight loss medications like Ozempic, Mounjaro. I think I'm saying that right.
Not weight loss medications. That's the whole thing. It's only for type 2 diabetes. You're not supposed to be using it for weight loss, even though it absolutely works for that.
Yeah. So the coverage is ending for people on Medicaid who are using it for weight loss purposes. Like, yes, it's recommended for other things as well, but I certainly kind of think of it as like the weight loss medication. And Spotlight PA reports that this change is happening because it's supposed to save hundreds of millions of dollars when this goes into effect January 1st. And Pennsylvania did spend a lot on these kinds of prescriptions in 2024. It was more than I expected, $650 million. But also, like, medication's expensive, so I don't know. Like, it's kind of surprising, kind of not.
Yeah, what is that like relative to? Like, for states that have a similar size population, especially older population, like, is that more or less? Like, I don't know what that number means. Also, if you have people who want to lose weight and can't, it's possible that they could develop other things that will require medication. Like, I don't think preventing people from getting the care that they need is the way to save costs long term. Just going to throw that out there.
And you wouldn't be the only one who thinks that. Some opponents, including a local lawmaker, Arvind Venkat, he is also a doctor, said the same thing, that limiting access to these kinds of medications can lead to more serious health issues. I don't know, like heart conditions was something Spotlight PA mentioned. So yeah, like things could get more serious.
Yeah, I think it was Venkat that proposed legislation to make sure that Medicaid patients could get these. Like, I think the thinking behind it was that the state itself could negotiate prices directly with the drug companies. But last I saw, that hasn't gone anywhere yet.
No.
But that was a while back, like way before this news dropped.
Mm-hmm.
I also wish we could just stop being the only industrialized nation without national health care instead of nickel and diming people over the care that they need. This is a soapbox. Anyway, I think we have another loss.
Another loss. ICE arrests have increased in the Pittsburgh area. Credit to Public Source for doing a really thorough dive into these numbers.
Yeah.
They found that from January to October, there have been at least 948 arrests related to immigration in the Pittsburgh area. So this isn't exclusively like in the city. They were using like a 50-mile radius. But this was still triple the number of arrests in 2024, same time period, January to October. And then they found that July and August had the highest number of arrests. They have some
during that period.
Yeah. Public Source has like a visualization if you want like a breakdown and a ton of links with more context about ICE raids in the Pittsburgh area and their reporting. I'll also, plug our interview with the ACLU of Pennsylvania about what to do if you're worried about your immigration status or if you see ICE on the streets. And I think it's also worth saving Casa San Jose's emergency number so you can call them if you're detained or witness someone getting detained. That is 412-736-7167.
Yeah, just a plug for this Public Source story. There's a lot of resources here, and this graphic is really sad. It makes me really sad. Anyway, another loss. We have another loss.
Yeah, the Trump administration decided to dead name a pretty important Pennsylvanian that served the federal level too. That's infuriating.
It is. Admiral Rachel Levine. If you're not familiar, I feel like if you lived here during the pandemic, you heard her name constantly. She was Pennsylvania's health secretary under Governor Tom Wolf. Then she got elevated under the Joe Biden administration to be the assistant secretary of human services. Like such an important role during this crazy period in our nation's history. But importantly, was also the first trans person to, I think, hold any of these roles, openly trans, and also the first openly trans person to be confirmed by the Senate. And now the Trump administration is doing some dumb shit. I'm just going to say it. Dumb shit.
Yeah, I would also classify this as dumb shit. So the Trump administration changed her official portrait and dead named her in that official portrait. And HHS, federal level, told NPR they, quote, remain committed to reversing harmful policies enacted by Levine and ensuring that biological reality guides our approach to public health. And, you know, Levine says she's not going to comment on this type of like petty thing. Good for her, but PA lawmakers have condemned the dead naming. Good for them.
I also haven't seen where this portrait is. Like, she left office in 2025, which is common. Usually when presidents change, they appoint all new people. But like, why? Why go back and change the official portrait of someone that's not even in your administration?
To be mean and spiteful. Yeah, her portrait's at the HHS headquarters.
Okay.
At least that's what NPR said. I haven't seen it in person or anything.
You didn't go down to D.C. to verify?
No, I didn't. Former Governor Tom Wolf said that these attacks on her are gratuitous, nasty, brazen, and completely unnecessary. And Allegheny County Rep Dan Frankel called this an act of political malice. I say gross, because I want the government to figure out healthcare subsidies so, you know, everyone's insurance doesn't go up instead of dead naming people. Do your real jobs.
So a win. We have a new direct flight, a new international one. We have talked about on the show, like our airport has a fair number of direct flights, but most of them are domestic. This is 63 flight locations that we now have. Are those 63 international or 63 total?
63 total. We do not have 63 international locations.
I didn't think so, but like, I don't know. As soon as I read it, I was like,
here's hoping.
Wait.
One day.
So starting in May, you're going to be able to fly to Dublin on Aer Lingus, which is just fun to say.
And flights are going to run 4 times a week. I think this is seasonal, so not year-round. But I don't think I want to go to Ireland in the dead of winter. It seems colder there.
I mean, it's if you can handle Pittsburgh weather, it's exactly the same. Like you get all 4 seasons in a single day. You always want to have a coat with you of some kind, like whatever is seasonally appropriate, and expect moisture in some form at some point. Like, you'll be fine.
Okay, that's true. But, you know, in January, I want to go somewhere warmer.
I understand.
Like,
I'm just saying,
sunnier.
People of Pittsburgh, Ireland's really similar. I get why we have so many Irish people here, because like it probably felt really familiar.
Well, for anyone who wants to experience this firsthand, round trip prices start at $519, which I feel like is pretty like okay for an international flight.
Yeah. I mean, my most recent was on the other side of the globe. Which was wonderful, but like 4 or 5 times that.
Wow. Okay. Usually if I do Asia, I can usually get a flight for about $1,000 round trip if you like price it out ahead of time enough, do some deals. I don't know.
Yeah, I think my range there is New Zealand was like 2,400, 2,300, something like that. And China was like, I don't know. It was somewhere around 1,200, 1,300. It was a lot.
Well, this is cheaper. And
so much cheaper.
Like you're saying, our city has a few connections to Ireland. Like Axios Pittsburgh reported that UPMC has 4 locations there.
I did not know that.
No. I cannot believe UPMC has stretched this far. I was confused when I saw them in like the middle of Pennsylvania.
I saw a UPMC building in China when I was over there and did not know that existed either. And was like, I was trying to take pictures out of the like side of the cab.
Well, PPG also has a manufacturing plant there. So I guess we're just
Pittsburgh's
doing
everywhere.
Business in Ireland. And obviously the Steelers played in Dublin this fall.
Yes, which we talked about, which brings us to our final win. Roll around in our nostalgia just a little bit here. The terrible towel, the obnoxious yellow towel that we have that's part of our heritage is celebrating its 50th birthday.
Yeah, Pittsburgh Magazine did a little piece about this, so I learned the history, which no clue.
You didn't know? You didn't know that
I
this
did not know.
It came from a broadcaster, which is like actually is like, you know, kind of part of our own heritage.
Yeah. And now I feel more connected to the towel, I guess. I don't have one, but Myron Cope.
I can fix that, Sophia. I have a lot of them.
I don't need one of the. Maybe I'll get one of like the 50th anniversary ones because they have like a new or
I mean,
retro.
there are so many. You can really find a terrible towel for like every spirit, every emotion, anything you need.
Okay, so I'll go hunting for myself, but I was really interested to learn that like Myron Cope just asked Steelers fans to bring in yellow dish towels to wave around 50 years ago. I like that it started with just like pull what you have in your home.
Mm-hmm. And also that he was convinced enough of Pittsburgh had yellow towels. And
Yeah.
I mean, I think he was right.
And, you know, fans like actually got together when the Super Bowl came around for a more formalized version. It said Myron Cope's terrible towel.
It still says that. That is still part of the logo.
Oh, okay. I really haven't looked at one closely. But, you know, it was named Terrible Towel because his daughter thought his idea was bad. I think that's
I did
really
not know
funny.
that. But now it's like a major symbol of the city. Like, I mean, just because the Steelers have proliferated so much, I feel
All
like
the way to Ireland.
a lot of people are aware of this tradition.
Yeah, and if you want the 50-year anniversary towel, you can buy it from the Steelers website. I also saw it at like Dick's, so good last-minute gift for a Steelers fan.
I mean, truly, or I think they're everywhere. Like my dad literally left in the middle of halftime this past weekend to go get a couple of them from the Giant Eagle closest to us, like for
that's
Christmas
fun.
gifts. Yeah, I've seen them all over. The Strip District has their own versions. Definitely something if you need a quick gift. That's all for today here on City Cast Pittsburgh. Our music is by Benji, All the Kimonos, Wendy Marcini, Hip Color, Pow, and Echo Fab, with additional music from epidemicsound.com. Mallory Falk is our executive producer. Sophia Lo produces the show. Francesca DeBecco writes our newsletter. And I'm your host, Megan Harris. We will be back on Monday with more from around the city. Have a great weekend, y'all. That's McDonald's iced tea, baby.